Overall, wow. This is a big deal. This is the first time I think he's been there in a very long time, if ever. I know President Xi has come here to see President Trump. You know what was really cool? The entourage with President Trump outside the official entourage. That's Elon Musk. That's Elon Musk making the trip, all right? And there are other people. I think Tim Cook from Apple, the guy who started NVIDIA Computer, the rest of them, just super duper brilliant guys that you kind of want with you. I mean, business opportunities, that kind of thing, mutual cooperation. It doesn't have to all be negative between us and China, right? Now, who did Joe Biden bring when he went to China for the first time as Vice President of the United States in December of 2013? Take a look. Here they are, getting off Air Force Two, kind of like criminals, and that's Hunter. December 2013. Now, Hunter, at that time, was a full-fledged crack addict, all right? I mean, it's sad. What was he doing there? He had no business doing there, and he got to meet President Xi, and it looked like they weren't doing the business of America, but potentially doing the business of the Bidens, okay? What was Xi making of this? What was going through his head? I think he knew what was going on, right? See Hunter. Hunter was the bag man for the family. Now, you may have noticed that President Trump brought some family members as well. Now, let's talk about them, okay? Lara Trump happens to be the co-chair of the RNC, a successful businesswoman in her own right. There's Eric Trump. Eric has been an international businessman for over 20 years, and he's not a drug addict. It's just refreshing, right? They're doing the business of America, and I think that's great. Overall, wow. And you really do want a guy like President Trump there, as opposed to pretty much any other president we've ever had, especially the last one. You'd be surprised how timid politicians are, how afraid they are to say the obvious. President Trump obviously is not afraid to say the obvious, not to be too obvious. Joe Biden, why does he say the things he has said about China in particular? Watch this. I think it's great. It's President Trump over the years on China, where he is right now, versus Joe Biden. Notice anything?
I have many people from China that I do business with. They laugh at us. They feel we're fools. You know, they're getting away with absolute murder.
China's a great nation, and we should hope for the continued expansion.
I don't want to lose $300 billion a year to China when we can't afford to build schools for our children, when we can't afford to build highways, when we can't afford to build railways, when we can't afford to build bridges. I want money to be invested in jobs and in this country. I don't want to rebuild China.
A rising China is a positive development, not only for China, but for America and the world writ large.
It was China's fault. And China's going to pay a big price, what they've done to this country. China's going to pay a big price, what they've done to the world. This was China's fault. And just remember that.
554,064 American dead from COVID-19. A lot of families want to know how this happened, how it got here. Have you had a chance to speak to any of your international partners, any of President Xi, who I know you go way back with? Have you had a chance to ask him if these reports are true, that China maybe misled the world at the beginning?
No, I have not had that conversation with President Xi. Thank you.
So what do we take from all that? He was blackmailable, all right? The stuff that they had on the Bidens, the money that went to the Biden family, this man was blackmailable. President Trump is the opposite.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.